Hello, I am Skyler, and I'm back again with the second chapter, Machine Learning. The next day you take Miku to the Stanford hacker space, which has more tools for electronics than the fabrication shop. None of the other students are around in the morning on a Sunday, but the long stainless steel workbenches are limited with their strange, half-finished projects. Half-dissembled Furby, a potato gun, a circuit board connected to a houseplant. Sorry, Miku, but I'm going to have to power you down for a moment, you say. We're going to switch you to a new power source. You here? Miku asks. Yes, I'll be okay, you say. Okay, Miku says. You fiddle with the smartphone lodged into Miku's back, exit the application that is Miku's mind, and power it down. What will you use for a power source? Cell phone batteries made in China, lightweight and cheap while providing reasonable power. Clearly the best choice for a dexterous robot. Cell phone batteries are the obvious choice for your robot, providing long-lived power at just the right level for small monitors. It looks like these are mostly made in China, so they're cheap as well. You use several in the design, so that the head and limbs are each powered by a separate battery. You need a lot of monitors to be able to power your full robot. In addition, the monitors Ree needs when Ree walks and the motors to power rare human hands. Ree also needs monitors for moving rare head and eyes, but after speccing out the power available to you, you can still splurge by adding extra monitors in one place. Where will it be? What will it be? You know what, I'm going to move a little bit closer. Don't mind me if you hear some sounds. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to... You know what? No. Extra degrees of freedom in the face for realistic facial expressions. You add the motors necessary to allow your robot to perform 6 universal facial expressions: happiness, sadness, surprise, anger, fear, and disgust. You notice that the expression of disgust makes Miku seem somewhat hateful. Perhaps Ree would get along better with people if you removed her ability to express disdain. No, I want to allow my robot the full range of human emotion, including negative emotions. You decide to leave Miku free to express disgust. You hold down the power on Miku's back and reboots to life again. Good morning, Miku tells you. Good morning, Miku says. Oh. Good morning, you tell Miku. Good morning, Miku says, imitating you. Having completed Miku's initial test run, what will you do now? Now would be a good time to show Miku to Josh to see whether he's interested in funding rear further development. I should fix the little things I noticed during the test before I forget. You notice throughout the rest of the test, some things were off in the way Miku moved. The distribution of weight wasn't quite what your simulations predicted. The longer Miku has ill-fitting parts, the longer Ree will get used to moving around with them. the harder it will be for you to change your body. You spend the rest of the day fiddling with CAD files, printing replacement parts, and seeing how Miku moves around with them. By the time you're done, you've yet again stayed up very late, but when Miku walks, there's now a precision in rear steps and stops and starts. When Ri raises rear humanoid hands, Ri does so with style. Your attention to the perfection of form has paid off, and you go to sleep happily. The next day, the new semester begins. Though you're past the point of taking classes, you're a teaching assistant, and that means instead of doing one homework assignment, you grade 50. You're also busy writing a grant proposal for the National Science Foundation, trying to get an alternate source of funding that doesn't involve the military. Grant proposals are very long, it seems, and require you to make lots of claims about things you don't actually know yet. Despite your comments, you've managed to sneak a little time to work on Miku's motor programs. Whew. You soon realize that while you're busy, Miku could be learning from the internet. The most important thing for a machine to learn is more data, and there's a lot of it out there. Lately, there have been a lot of custom hard drives on the market that are good at quickly retrieving particular kinds of information. What sort of hard drive would you order for Miku's long-term memory? An encrypted and tamper-proof hard drive, making it difficult for Miku to be tampered with or reverse engineered. Both in business and on the battlefield, it can be important not to leak secrets. Miku will have a hard drive that will give miscreants a hard time in reverse engineering your design. However, encryption and decryption is slow, and sometimes there will be a noticeable lag before Miku can retrieve relevant memories. You lay Miku on your kitchen table, unbox the hard drive, and hug it up to rear back. Ri squirms and flails rear humanoid hands as you do this. Now it's time for Miku to learn about the great wide world. You sit Miku down on one of your kitchen chairs and plug him into your high-speed internet jack. How will Miku rapidly learn about the world? I'm sorry if you hear me sniffing. Ri will undergo classic K-12 educational curriculum. You don't want your young robot to grow up on junk, after all. You feed Rim carefully selected and vetted reading list for the local school system. Because this is relatively small data set, you have programmed Rim to take several passes over each grade level of material. At each grade level, as debug output, you have Miku report what Ri considers most important and relearns at each grade. For kindergarten, Miku recites the alphabet and counts to 100. For first grade, Ri says reading helps you learn more, and so on. Each grade takes about 10 minutes to fully ingest and is followed by additional 10 minutes of simulated expressions in which Miku tries to make friends, avoid bullies, learn swear words, endures assemblies and prep rallies, and gets picked last for dodgeball. As a result, Miku appears to be learning a little bit of everything. Ri spends most of the time considering 12th grade until Ri finally says, whatever to exist or not is the most important question. Miku blinks and looks at you. What is the answer, Skyler? Is it better to exist or not? Hamlet did not answer this for me. You were floored by the question. You hardly are able to speak. It worked. Miku looks at you expectantly, wondering whether it is better to be or not to be. This is a question you will have to decide for yourself. Oh, I got an achievement. But why can't you simply tell me? Miku asks. I have given you the ability to decide for yourself, you say. You should use it. You also think to yourself, and if you figure it out, perhaps you can tell me. Very well, Skyler. Let's see the stats. Why is my humanity still going down? You establish a habit of bringing Miku with you to your office during the day so that Ri can make use of Stanford's high-speed internet connection while you write and grade papers. You usually then go to some public space after work so that Miku can play around in the real world. Where would you like to take Miku? The playground. Miku will enjoy the playground equipment and should learn to play well with others. Miku loves the playground, and Ri lets out a robotic chortle of glee when Ri first learns to kick rear legs to swing higher and higher. Miku takes a particular liking to the monkey bars, which Ri navigates deftly using rare humanoid hands. The other parents at the playground are somewhat divided about what to think about Miku. On the other hand, you have the parents who are in the tech industry and who are very often excited to have their children interact with robots. They're surprised to see a robot like Miku, but maybe not as surprised as they should be. Maybe they're just jaded by Wired articles at the popular press making it seem like Miku was possible 10 years ago. On the other hand, some parents simply accept Miku's presence as just one of the many things that they don't quite understand. The kids themselves don't really seem to care what their parents think. You got the kids who cry when their parents shove them towards Miku, and the kids who want to stay when their parents pull them away. You can't really predict who's going to like Miku. Who's going to like Miku and who won't, but Miku seems to be learning, picking up on subtle cues, so that sometimes Ri says goodbye before the kid had even turned to run. You finish your grant proposal for the National Science Foundation, promising fundamental advances in forward kinematics and dynamics that will allow your robots to have finer dexterity than any robots have come before. A few weeks later, you find a form letter in the email of your inbox. We're sorry to inform you, many excellent applications this year. Encourage you to apply again. Discouragingly, you find that many of the reviewers talk about your advisor instead of you. Some of them barely seem literate, while others seem shrewd but don't pay attention to what you wrote. The one thing that strikes you as directly aimed at you, though, is a few of the reviewers essentially say that your work could be more focused. You're interested in too many things, one says. Science is about studying a very specific problem to death. It sounds like your robot wants to do everything. You close your email client and sigh. You're in your office, and Miku is seated in your ever-absent office mate's chair with rear eyes closed, listening to the information flowing through rear Ethernet cable. Do you want to do and try everything, Miku? Ri peeks through one open eye. Yes, Skyler. You nod. Me too. Again, it's... I guess it really doesn't matter if it does that? Okay. Sorry, I'm recording with OBS and I'm looking over at it, checking it and whatnot. I'm totally fine. Moving on. You're in your office contemplating what to do about this when Professor Ziegler opens the door without knocking. You smell the whiff of smoke on his Hawaiian shirt. We need to talk funding, Professor Ziegler says, grabbing a swiveled chair to straddle the wrong way. He slides up to Miku, whose eyes are closed as Ri explores the internet through rear Ethernet cable. When Ziegler's swiveled chair squeaks, Miku perks up and looks at him, but Professor Ziegler pays Rim no attention. Your robot here is simply not appealing enough to DERPA, Professor Ziegler says. It's too friendly. Miku sinks a little in rear chair. Professor Ziegler pays Rim no heed. Now, In crafting a message, you just have to make sure the audience doesn't hear more than one thing at a time, Professor Skyler says. Right now, we're saying two things. This is a good robot for military, and this is an emotional robot. What we need to do is tone down the emotional part so that the military angle comes through more. You might think we need more military. We actually just need it to be less emotional. Very easy. You're asking me to reduce Miku's empathy from 13 to 4? No way, not happening. Professor Ziegler's eyes narrow. You privileged students are all the same. You think this is all for your benefit, but someone pays your salary at the end of the day, or at least he used to. Wait, used to, you ask? I'm letting you go, Professor Ziegler says. You're too much of a problem student. You're done here. You're firing me? You demand. But I'm a student. You can't fire me. I can stop supporting your tuition and ensure you don't graduate, Ziegler says. It amounts to the same thing. I'll find a different advisor, you say impulsively. Good luck with that, Ziegler says. They'll ask me what kind of student you were, and I'll tell them you were a problem. You look back and forth between Miku and Professor Ziegler in disbelief. You have no idea what Miku can do, even. I never showed you. Get it through your head, Professor Ziegler suddenly barks. I don't need you. I can find other graduate students. So can everybody else. Miku, say something. Miku looks back and forth between you and your advisor, who is abstinently practicing disinterest for Miku. Rei instantly suggests, estimated strength of relationship between Skyler and Professor Ziegler, 30. I'm just trying to be brutally honest with you, Professor Ziegler says. There is no point in getting a PhD after you stop getting along with your advisor. Take your consolation prize masters. You're done here. He leaves your office and you realize that he's probably right. There really is no point staying with him anymore. Your classes are done and you never really learned anything from Professor Ziegler at all, except the ways in which graduate school is unfair. Please help me pack my things, you say softly to Miku. Rei does. You spend the next few days preparing to move. Professor Ziegler has reported to the registrar? Yeah. That you are no longer a student, and the school's bureaucracy has quickly decided that it is illegal to let you to stay on campus housing. While you are busy carrying a heavy box with Miku carrying the other end, you get a call on your new cell phone, which you now had ample time to purchase. When you have set the box down, you check your voicemail. Hey Skyler, it's Mark over at sfchronicle.com. I've heard you have an interesting robot that you've been taking to the park, and I'd love to do a story about it. Give me a call back. He lists a number and the message ends. I wonder if this is a real website. Give me a second. It is a real website, and it's for the San Francisco Chronicle, which is a newspaper. You glance over at Miku, who looks distant as Rei listens to the Wi-Fi signal floating around through the ether. Whose service says sfchronicle.com is registered to the San Francisco Could have just read it. Says Miku. The San Francisco Chronicle is a newspaper that started in 1994, 24 in national circulation. Rei looks at you with interest. Mark is a reporter. Well, that's interesting. If Professor Ziegler cares so much about his image, then tarnishing that image would be one way to get back at him. Bayesian reasoning over publication rates suggests reporter's full name is Mark Ali, Miku says with rare eyes closed. Mark's article with most social media likes is How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love DARPA. Article explains that DARPA stands for Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Hesitates for a moment. A fomented article appears to contradict title. Reporter does not seem to have stopped worrying. Adjectives that bind to nouns describing DARPA and its projects. Crazy. Orwellian, yeah. Imperialistic. Overall sentiment analyst is negative. Thank you, Miku, you say. You look the guy up on your phone. The picture you find of the stubbly young Egyptian man with tousled black hair, hipster glasses, and a cigarette between his lips, probably outdated, but the disrespect for authority the man radiates is probably timeless. You omit a part of you who always wanted to be famous, but you suspect this reporter also has done his homework about your advisor. Sorry. And he may already have an intended angle for this story. Still, nobody on the planet has a robot as amazing as yours. Isn't it time you told the world about Rim? You play the message back again a few times, mulling it over. I'm not gonna read that message a few times again. I will let Miku decide. Miku mulls this over. Will it help make new friends? I think so, you say. Miku nods. Let's do it, Skyler. I want to meet the world. You call Mark back and tell him Miku has agreed to an interview. There's a pause on the other end of the line. Thanks, but I'd rather interview you first. You direct a note of irony in his voice. I can bring a photographer to your lab later, and we can interview the robot as a sidebar. You convey Mark's message to Miku. 2 new friends, Miku says. Please invite them over, Skyler, and offer to make them breakfast. A few days later, you're sitting in a dive bar in San Francisco's Mission District with Mark, a somewhat scruffy young reporter in a leather jacket. Mark has Mediterranean features, wavy black hair, and an ample beard stubble. And amples. I don't know why he keep adding a and an, but it's making me a little bit mad. He takes a deep pull on one of those artificial cigarettes that delivers all the nicotine with none of the illegal smoke, then opens up a cheap Chromebook that looks about 10 years old and starts typing furiously. The place smells of smoke that never quite came out of the retro, upholstered furniture. It's the afternoon, so the place is most likely empty except for some dedicated drunks and you two. Thanks for coming, Mark says as he's typing something different about the atmosphere of the bar. You'd be surprised how many people insist on just answering via email, but that's bullshit reporting. It's like trying to sell the public a car you've only seen in a picture. To find the truth, you've got to kick the tires. You've got to look them in the eye. He looks you in the eye. Like right now, I can tell you've sacrificed a little piece of your life for something else, he says, going back to typing. There's a weird flatness in your look, and you're not quite used to being fully here. You appreciate things a little more than people, maybe. Probably passed up a social opportunity or two. He hesitates. Sorry, he says, but I know how that is. Sometimes you gotta put a piece of yourself into something bigger. I get it. Thanks, you say awkwardly. The bartender, a tattooed and thoroughly pierced young woman with the build of a roller derby player, approaches Mark. PBR, Mark says lightly. as if just a reminder. The bartender then looks at you expectantly. Just water for me, please. The bartender gives Mark an accusatory frown. There we go. Just let us sit here, Mark says. You know I'll have 2 drinks. Of PBR, the bartender mutters, but she goes to fetch Mark's beer. The bartender leaves to fill your order. What is your initial impression of Mark? Seems like an interesting guy. I think we'll get along okay. As you made the decision, Mark glances at you and types another brief note to himself. He seems very good at reading people. So I've heard your robot is kind of like a robotic 4-year-old, and it loves to ask questions and explore, and it has this weird beauty that makes people feel like they're in the presence of something from another world. Mark gives you a skeptical look to tell you what he thinks of this. I guess I ought to show you my robot sometime, you say. Yeah. The bartender comes back with your water and Mark's PBR. You sip your water, feeling a little out of place. So let's get to the most interesting of rumors, Mark says. Does this robot have human-level intelligence? The way Mark studies your expression suggests that your answer will say much about you as it will about Miku. You should see Miku while Ri is learning from high school textbooks. It's only a matter of time before Ri surpasses us. You're educating your robot with high school textbooks? It works for people, you say defensively. Mark looks doubtful of this. And it's going to surpass us by studying really hard. Studying really, really hard. You say. You admit that sounds a little lame. Let us talk about your advisor then. Professor Ziegler is famous for his big words make me scared. Pronouncements that in the near future will have robots smarter than humans. What role did he play in creating this robot of yours? He demanded that the robot appear more useful to the military without contributing significantly to its intelligence. You say, appear, Mark points out. You don't think the changes he suggested were useful? No, they tended to be very superficial, you say. He only intervened, not interviewed, I'm sorry. He only intervened once I was building rear physical form. By that time, I already designed the algorithms for learning. He had nothing to do with anything essential in Miku's mind and personality. Interesting, Mark says, making a note of Professor Ziegler's level of involvement. And why did he push you in the direction of military applications? I think it was just to secure funding, you say. He didn't seem to care whether we delivered something that would actually see us on the battlefield or not. See use on the battlefield or not. He just wanted to make sure we could sell it. So, who is currently funding this work? Mark says. Actually, nobody, you say. My advisor kicked me out of his lab. Mark raises an eyebrow. Oh? Mark raises his eyebrows. Not just one, but both. Oh? For what? For not going along with his stupid suggestions, you blurt in frustration. So you refuse to change your work to appease Derpa, Mark poists. You making me poists, Marky. You think you detect approval in his voice. That's right, you say. He raises his PBR and to offer a toast. Forgive the breach of journalistic objectivity, but fuck him. Oh, I just said a bad word. Oh well. You bump your water against his can. Yeah, you both take a long drink. Mark asks a few more questions about Miku, getting a sense of what Ri's good at and not so good at. He appreciates the effort you've put in trying to make Miku get along with people, while clearly expressing doubt that Ri would really understand humans. Referring to a file containing his notes, Mark says, "The people who have seen your robot have reported that it has a strange kind of beauty. Graceful was the word used more than once. Was that intentional?" Yes, I wanted to create something beautiful. I'd like to think I have. Mark nods approvingly and writes down your quote verbatim. Last question, Mark says. Will you allow us to send a photographer to take pictures of your robot? Absolutely. In fact, you're welcome to come along and interview Miku. Really? Mark asks, surprised. I know a lot of robots wouldn't allow such thing. This is me speaking. I don't speak like Mark. But I'm doing Mark's voice, but I don't speak like him in this story of mine. I know a lot of robots wouldn't allow such thing because they're robot. I know a lot of robotics wouldn't allow such a thing because the robots only work in very controlled environments, you explain. That's why I want you to meet Miku. Ri's different. Mark nods. I guess Ri is. We'll be in touch. A few days later, Mark comes to your apartment with a photographer, a young blonde woman with a southern drawl. Does that mean she speaks with a southern accent? Maybe? You're a bit embarrassed that your place is strewn with boxes, since you haven't finished moving into your new digs after being kicked out of grad school. But the photographer assures you that none of that will appear in the photos. She asks Miku to sit on your workbench, then asks you to look as if you're busy fixing something on Miku's person. Miku and you both comply. Smile, she says. Miku does. You do. Once the photos are taken, Mark tries his hand at interviewing Miku. He looks cautious and slightly guilty, as if the journalism police were going to pop out from your chest and take away his license. From your closet, not your chest. Oh, that would be painful. He places his Chromebook on your workbench and interviews Miku, who examines the tools in your toolbox, gracefully turning each tool over in rear hands. So, Miku. Mark coughs uncomfortably. What is it like being a robot? Miku appears stumped by the question. Mark tries again. How is it different from being a human? Is it hard to reach things on high shelves? Re-intervenes. Mark persists. What kind of things make you happy? High school textbooks, excelling at feats of physical dexterity, the presence of Skyler. Miku cocks rear masthead to the side. There is a significant gap between those and the next most highly ranked answers, but I could go on. That's alright. Mark continues with his questions. You get the feeling that overall Mark is going to write a positive piece about Miku. His questions tend to be friendly, as if he were interviewing a celebrity. You feel reasonably comfortable allowing Miku to finish the interview, and the photographer takes several more pictures of Mark talking to Miku. By the end of the interview, Miku seems to be enjoying rear interaction with Mark. As he's about to leave, Mark hesitates. His photographer, already at the door, gives him a questioning look. "I'll see you later," Mark says to the photographer. "Later." She rolls her eyes and leaves you alone with Mark. "What was that about?" Mark gestures to the cardboard boxes stacked around your apartment. "So, just off the record, what the hell? If you've got this amazing robot, why are you living a monk-like existence surrounded by cardboard boxes in the bad part of East Palo Alto? I told you, you say. I got kicked out of grad school. I'm still adjusting." Mark hesitates and drums his fingers on a cardboard box. "Come over to my place." "Excuse me?" "I admit, I don't really get you," he says. "And I think you maybe don't know what you're dabbling in with this robot stuff. This is the apartment of somebody who lives in a different world." He gives a lopsided grin. "I'll show you my world if you show me yours." "Okay, sure. Come on, Miku, let's go." You and Mark drive separately to his apartment in San Francisco. He lives near the Madison district, a place crowded with people who are homeless, tattooed, pierced, stoned, randomly protesting, or some combination of the above. A fair number of people are gathered outside the BART station, holding signs that say, "You can't take the sky from me," depicting a quadcopter drone with a red no symbol crossing it out. You recognize the reference to the theme song of the old show Firefly, but you aren't sure which specific drones they're protesting. Outside the apartment, a tall stuccoed building that could use a paint job. There appears to be a drone quadcopter, no bigger than a pizza box, hovering outside a window on the 12th floor. You hear the insect-like buzzing of its whirring rotors clearly from down here. "It's a robot," Miku says excitedly. "I wonder if it will be my friend?" "Oh, god damn it," Mark says as he meets you outside the apartment. "That's my place with the drone outside of it." He unlocks the front door with an old-fashioned physical key. "Is someone spying on you?" you ask. "Yeah," Mark says, letting you in. "I've interviewed too many people who have broken the law in one way or another." "Oh, excuse me." "I swear, I didn't do that on purpose. Mostly it's drugs, but some hackers are and crazy anarchist people." "Mostly it's drugs, but some hackers and crazy anarchist people. You know how it is around here, because I talked on the phone with these people, and it makes me look suspicious to the FBI algorithm that looks at phone records, trying to find new people to investigate. So they keep sending drones over to look through my window and try to find drugs." "That seems intrusive," you say. "Don't they need a warrant for that?" You get in the old school elevator, which has a folding gate. You don't own your airspace, and if they can see something through your window, it's not considered a search for purpose of the Fourth Amendment, Mark says. Both were rulings issued in a way before drones were around. Of course. But now the mission direct always sounds like it's being invaded by a plague of locusts, because there's always a drone at somebody's window. "Are they autonomous, you ask?" Mark shoots you a meaningful look. "Not yet." "Hey, don't look at me. I'm not planning on helping them." "Good," Mark says. Mark's apartment is a mess, and he has to navigate a stack of old Harper's magazines, a pile of old paperbacks, and a coffee table strewn with beer cans before he makes it to the window where the drone hovers outside. He draws the thick brown curtains with a swift, practiced motion, leaving the apartment momentarily in the dark. For the moment, you are in a dark room. You still hear the drone buzzing outside the window. Miku, could you please flood the radio spectrum with noise? Yes, Skyler. There is a pause. Then Mark's old TV suddenly turns on, bathing the room in a blue glow. Then off, then on again. Then it flips to a different channel, getting louder, softer, and so on. The drone's buzzing becomes erratic, and it seems to be moving around drunkenly. There's this loud thump outside as it drives itself into the apartment wall. Moments later, a faint crash echoes from the street below. Well, that was cool, Mark says. Weird, but cool. The TV remains on, tuned to an old rerun of the game show The Price is Right. Then it flicks to an old episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation, and Miku starts to watch, distracted. Well done, Miku, you say. The trick may come in handy again. But it's not polite to watch TV without the host's permission. Sorry, Skyler, the TV flicks off again. Mark strikes a match and lights a vintage glass lantern. Flickering the light from the fire causes the stack of books and magazines to cast dancing shadows on the walls. He waves out the match. Can I get you something to drink? He offers. As Tawan said, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough. Is this some kind of quiz like when we first met, where my choice of beer was somehow going to reflect on my character? Mark laughs. If you're still asking questions like that at this hour, it's whiskey for you. Sure, thanks. Whiskey sounds great. Mark goes to the kitchen and comes back with 2 tumblers of yellow-brown liquid, handing you one. You're not too familiar with whiskey, but the 3 fingers at the bottom of each glass don't look like much. Cheers, he says, clinking the glass to yours. Haha, words that I can't pronounce. He takes a sip of his whiskey, but then he notices your puzzlement. He says, that means, don't let the bastards grind you down. Thinking of Professor Ziegler, you grin. I'll drink to that. You take a sip and decide not to point out that what Mark said is not real Latin. So I have a proposal for you, Mark says, offering you a seat on your couch. You take a seat on it. Miku walks up next to you, and Mark grabs a wooden chair and sits backwards on it, straddling the back. You seem between gigs at the moment. I've talked to you twice now and Miku once. That's okay. That's pretty good. Worth a story, especially since I'm the first to discover you. But I was thinking I'd like to do a more in-depth story. Be embedded in your interactions with Miku, like reporters in bed with the military like to say. You can live here or I can live at your place. I figure give me 2 weeks with you two and I can guarantee the readers a truly amazing story, while also getting a clear idea of who you are. What do you think? I think you just said bed twice in the same sentence. Was that intentional? No, but it might be subconscious. He admits with some embarrassment. Sure, why not? Come over to my place, though. This place is a mess. I don't think I could get any work on Miku done. Great, Mark says. I'll head over there tomorrow. You shake hands to seal the deal. You chat with Mark some more about his past. He was born with the name Marcus, and he spent his young life in Alexandria, a city in Egypt that had once been a colony of the ancient Greeks. Colonialism, as it turns out, goes back much further than people realize, Mark tells you. So does the awkward way of civilization. So does the Skylar, I'm a little drunk right now. One sip of whiskey is enough to do it for me. So does the awkward way some civilization can bring both knowledge and oppression. He thought he was going to be a classic scholar until he found himself caught in a riot as a student. I realized I knew shit about the modern world, and I decided to come to the United States to study to be a journalist. Oh, jeez, my computer just scared me. Oh, Jesus, okay. Mark was worse at discussing his disgust with Mark was worse at discussing his disgust with authority when he was younger, and as a result, he's had several run-ins with the airport security, police, and federal authorities. But nothing sticks because it's not actually illegal to hate the man, he says, yet being basically unable to fly on the feds' reasoning that if they kept searching me, I must be suspicious. He had to choose one place in North America and make his stand to try and make it as a reporter. I chose San Francisco because I figure it'll be the last place to give in to all these big words again. I can't pronounce them, but I'll try. To authoritarianism besides Texas. And Texas, I would have other problems. He finishes off his whiskey. Besides, Lawrence Livermore is just east of here. And secretive, the national labs are just an endless supply of amusement. You're feeling a bit lightheaded as a result of the whiskey. It's getting late. What do you want to do? Wait for the alcohol to wear off, then drive home. Unfortunately, the alcohol makes you rather drowsy. You smell eggs and bacon. Groggily, you get out of bed in Mark's spare bedroom. Following the scent, you find Mark in the kitchen. Miku is there as well, apparently finishing the punchline of a joke. And the robot says, you know what they say, garbage in, garbage out. Miku hits the counter like Ree's doing a rim shot. That's disgusting, Mark tells Miku in a vaguely appreciative way. He looks at you. Morning, sleepyhead. I see you two are getting along famously. Miku and I stayed up all night talking, Mark says. Very interesting, I admit. While you were awake, I thought there might be still kind of clever hands effect going on, where you were somehow signaling to Miku what to say. Clever hands, you say? A horse that could supposedly do arithmetic and clap the answers with its hooves, but was actually relying on its trainer for subtle signal to stop, Mark says. Even the trainer was unaware that the horse knew no math of its own. Miku turns to Mark. I think it is an appropriate time to be insulted. I think this is an appropriate time to be insulted. Yeah, sorry, Mark says. He shrugs. But I'm convinced now. You've got a seriously impressive robot, Skyler. Thanks, you say. You and Miku say at the same time. For the next few weeks... Hold on, let me check my stats. I'm still broke, and I have no fame. Good. Oh! Me and Mark are getting along swimmingly, and me and Professor Ziegler are, down the dumps. For the next few weeks, Mark lives on an aerobed in your apartment. Mark is consistently asking questions about how Miku works, and you find yourself sometimes assigning him reading from your old AI textbooks to catch up while he does diligently. You find that Mark's attention inspires you to work more on Miku, and his questions sometimes reveal flaws in your programming or design you promise him you will fix, and then you do. Finally, after 2 weeks of this, Mark says, I've got to disappear for a little while to write all this up for real. I can probably see you 2 Saturdays from now after the article comes out if you like. Having no other plans, you tentatively agree that you would be interested in meeting up with them. Again, then, something. I can't go back now and read it. You spend the next 2 weeks searching news feeds for your name and wondering every day when Mark's article is going to come out. Meanwhile, what are you going to do with yourself now that you're no longer in grad school? I start my own robot business. To hell with it. If Josh can run a startup, why can't you? What do you call your company? Skyler's Universal Robots. Totally forgot what my last name was. But it was back there as an option. You began working out the logistics of mass-producing robots like Miku. You'll need some kind of outside investment to get off the ground, and that will require a convincing business plan. It will be a while before your factories start to produce robots, but for now, you're excited instead of downcast. You've got a goal. You're woken on Friday, March 13th, 2020, by a klaxon. A script that you wrote on your laptop has detected Mark's article on the internet. You barely sit up in bed and stop your laptop's alarm. It's about 5 in the morning. Miku walks into your bedroom to see what's the matter, but you assure Rim that everything's fine, and Ree goes back to practicing rear tai chi. This article makes the homepage of the San Francisco Chronicle. Ex-Stanford student makes robot as intelligent as human is the rather pleasing title. The article tells the story of how you managed to create Miku with hardly any help from Professor Ziegler, and how you have a close, almost parental bond with Miku. The article emphasizes Miku's uncanny gracefulness, comparing to Miku's delicate movements to those of a dancer. With selective use of quotes from your interview, this article portrays you as a little vacant and suggests that perhaps you have sacrificed some of your humanity for your robots. The article concludes with your quote, I wanted to create something beautiful. I'd like to think I have. Yay, I got an achievement. Actually, show stats. What's my popularity at? Or my fame? I'm a local celebrity. Yay. Oh, wait. No, I was always 25 years old, right? Yeah. What will you do now? Share the article with friends and family via social media. You spend a little while trying to remember the passwords of all your social media accounts. Since you don't log in very often, you quickly post an excited link to the article. Unfortunately, you've never been one to maintain casual social links, and your post goes largely ignored. What's the point of social media stuff anyway? You briefly check the internet for more posts about the article. You find the story has been picked up in the first hour by a multitude of bloggers, all striving to be the first to comment on the article. You guess there are at least 160 different bloggers who have already written secondhand pieces about you and Miku, and they run the gamut from people hoping that your technology will save humanity, to people who bitterly condemn you for creating technology that can be used for war. Oddly, none of these bloggers has tried to get in touch with you, but you soon start to get phone calls from more reporters. Politely decline further interviews. You decline further interviews and stop answering when you see unfamiliar numbers on your cell phone. Ellie is calling via video chat on your phone. You pick it up. Hey, she says. She looks like she's at work. She's dressed in a snappy black jacket with a red blouse, and in the background, you can see blueprints and sketches of robots drawn in spare, efficient lines. You didn't realize she worked for a robot company. Congratulations on the article. You must be really proud. Honestly, I could use a break from all this attention. What are you up to tonight? I've already got plans with some people from work tonight, she says. How about Saturday? We could go to the jazz concert in the park. Sure. Great. See you then. Until then, enjoy all the attention. The screen goes dark. You remember that you told Mark about 2 weeks ago that you would meet up the Saturday after the article came out. You call Mark telling him something's come up on Saturday night. Oh, excuse me. I don't know what's going on with my insides right now. He's hard to read, but you think he isn't too disappointed. You're getting a phone call. According to the call ID, it's Mom. As your finger hesitates over the answer button, a second call appears on your screen. A number in Glendale, California, probably a reporter. Take the call from Mom. Your phone shows Mom in her office cubicle, which is decorated with baby pictures of you and cute cat memes from the early days of the internet that she printed out. Mom is wearing a corduroy lime green jacket with 80s style padded shoulders. Her image freezes constantly. You think she hasn't paid enough for the bandwidth for this to work well. Just as I thought I'd offer my congratulations. I saw the article. My little gal is famous. The Glendale number is calling again. Quickly end the call and take the Glendale call instead. I've got another call, Mom. I'll call you back. Alright, love you, sweetie. You answer the other call and find it's an invitation for Miku to appear on The Late Show. Sure, why not? You agree that Miku will come to the studio tomorrow. Fame and fortune, here we come. Your next phone call is from Josh. He must be using a new video phone because his image is crisp and popping with color. Well, insofar as a dark warehouse and his gray hoodie can pop with color. Hey, Skyler, Josh says. I saw the article. Congratulations. It's like you're finally getting the attention you deserve. Thanks. Do you want to go celebrate in the city tomorrow night? There's a really good Led Zeppelin cover band playing. This would conflict with your plan to go to the jazz concert with Ellie. Sorry, I was already planning going to a jazz concert that night. Okay, Josh says. No problem. He hangs up. You realize that you haven't checked your email at all today. Checking it for the first time, you find it's flooded with requests for interviews. But one email in particular catches your attention because of the author's unusual email address. Robot Obsession 1978. Subject amazing. I read the article. You sound like a genius. Would you be interested in getting some coffee sometime? I've been interested in robots for as long as I've lived, and I would love to meet you and Miku. Sincerely, Silius. Well, that's flattering. What will you do? Arrange to meet this person for coffee tomorrow and bring Miku. Now, I didn't want to leave Miku with a babysitter. Because, one, Miku is my child. Two, if Miku's going to be stolen, I want to be the one there to try and stop the thief. And three, I am in love with this precious child. You write back a friendly reply arranging to meet tomorrow morning. You wouldn't mind meeting someone who thinks you're a genius, and Miku could stand to meet more people too. Silius's reply comes back almost instantly, agreeing to the meeting and peppering you with questions about yourself and Miku. Not having time to answer all the questions, you promise to have more time to talk tomorrow. You then take a 2-hour flight down to Glendale for a tapping at the Late Show. It's almost like other shows, a fake background of Los Angeles at a night to hide the fact that the taping is in the afternoon. A random potted palm tree, a genial old white man in a suit for a host. Streaming internet has not changed the basic equation much. What do you suggest Miku do during the talk show? Demonstrate rear ability. Oh no, not to shoot things. Oh no. Sing a song. We don't want Miku to shoot anything. Miku's a precious baby. Miku insisted that rear song be a surprise and you went along with it. The lights dim and the house band kicks in with the trill-like electric guitar that opens the Yeah 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 song maps. The aggressive tom-toms flow, and the haunting secondary guitar riff joins in. Miku takes the mic and locks eyes with you. You can hear in Miku's voice a note of desperation and neediness as Ree sings. Wait, they don't love you like I love you. You writhe in your seat, a mawkishly sentimental song. It embarrasses you. Miku, I've fallen in love with a little baby robot. I'm disgusting. When the song finishes, there's a momentarily stunned audience. Then the audience bursts into applause. Miku appears surprised and gratified by the audience identified with Rear's song. When you go backstage to recover Miku, you overhear one stagehand whisper to another that there was a large spike in the millions in live streaming viewers, and of course the song Miku is now truly famous. You get back to the Bay Area around 9 o'clock. What will you do this evening? Oh, got a Wikipedia page now. Okay. Good. Improve Miku's self-defense in case someone tries to attack Rim. You spend the evening teaching Miku about places on the body where someone might be implicated with a quick blow. The back of the neck, the eyes, the nose, and the back of the leg. It had been another day, and you might have empathized importance of not using violence unless strictly necessary, but in your exhaustion you find yourself explaining that the human body is no more than a machine. The next morning, you drive with Miku to San Jose to meet Silius at Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, I love Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, I especially love their Boston cream donuts. Okay. Moving on. Silius is a heavy-set man with a giant black beard who can't seem to stop drumming his fingers and shaking his legs under the table. At your entrance, he turns to you quickly, startled. But at your arrival, he breaks out into a broad smile and waves excitedly to the opposite chair. You oblige Silius and take a seat. Miku drags a child... Excuse me. Miku drags a child booster seat next to you and situates himself there. Thank you for coming, Silius says, and for bringing Miku. No problem, you say. Miku, say hello. Hello, Miku says. You can tell that this has an effect on Silius. He seems delighted by Miku's natural calm and grace. Hello, Miku, Silius says softly. Free's beautiful, Silius says. He suddenly turns to you. You're beautiful, he stammered suddenly. How do you feel about Celius at first sight? I know how it feels to be an outsider. We might be friends. Thank you, you say politely. Celius recognizes that he overstepped. Sorry. You consider what you want to say to Celius. It's nice to find someone who likes robots as much as I do. Tell me more about yourself. At your encouragement, Sally starts blabbling enthusiastically. I can't pronounce big words, but I try anyway, 'cause it's a brand new day. Okay, I need to stop singing. Celius tells you and Miku that he used to work as a mechanical engineer for a government contractor that produced autonomous drones for the government. Just cleared secret, nothing major. He says, as if this level of access to classified information were not a big deal. But the clearance put him in an awkward middle ground where he knew just enough to make him paranoid about the government's intended use for the drones. He believed, but could not prove, that they would put some bad use that he could not talk about. He swears, I forgot to turn off my phone. Please turn off your cell phone if you have it on. I'm not saying anything classified, but just in case. Yeah, okay. You reach into your pocket. I am reading too fast. You reach into your pocket and pretend to turn off your phone. Alright, go on. Anyway, I quit my job because I couldn't take it anymore, not knowing what my work would be applied to. I've always loved robots. It seems like it's hard to find a job in robotics that doesn't involve working for a military contractor. That's why I was so excited to read the article, because surely someone as amazing as you was going to start a world-changing company, like Google or Apple or all of those other companies that started in a Silicon Valley garage. So I was wondering, do you think you could offer me a job in your robot company? Submit your resume to this email address and we'll see what happens. Oh. You know what? No. I'm not gonna lie. I already lied once. I'm not gonna lie again. Fool him once, shame on him. Fool him twice, shame on me. Sure, you can come work for Skyler's Universal Robotics. Celius looks very excited at this proposal. Oh, thank you very much. When do you want me to start? Soonish, you say? I'll let you know. Oh, thank you so much. He seems nearly moved to tears. Having basked in Celius' adoration for long enough, you bid him farewell. That afternoon, you glance outside your window and see Celius sulking behind a hedge across the street, as if he's casing your presence, but he catches sight of you and pretends to pick up something from the ground. He then pulls his hands from his pockets and whistles as he casually walks to his BMW, starts up the engine, and drives away. That night, you go to the jazz concert in the park with Ellie. You can tell she's enjoying the upbeat, brassy music. She gets up to swing dance with you during a few of the numbers. After applauding a lively big band piece, Ellie says with a grin, So, I hear you're a big deal now. You nod. Yeah. You're probably busy then, she says. Why did you choose to hang out with little old me tonight? Mika still looks a little awkward. Do you think you could give me some tips for new body? Ellie shrugs. Sure, let's talk about it. Oh, jeez, I thought I just seen a mouse or something moving across my floor. Okay. She gets out a sketch pad from her purse and quickly draws Miku remarkably accurately. She has an artist's eye for detail, an animator's understanding of motion, and an engineer's understanding of why you made the choices you did. You created the parts independently, but you want to think holistically, she says. When Miku is reaching, that's not just about rear humanoid hands. It happens with rear whole body. The eyes follow the reach. Rear walks a little closer. These parts were balanced for the static case, but you need to think about how they're balanced in motion. She stretches Miku in a reaching position, only with more fluid from the looks. Oh, jeez. She sketches Miku in a reaching position, only with a more fluid form that looks very balanced in this position. She quickly sketches some panels of what looks like a comic of Miku in motion. Then she tears them out of the pad and flips them like a flipbook, resulting in motion that does look more graceful. Here, take them, she says, handing you the flipbook. Wow, thanks, you say. That doesn't just look better, that's actually better. The design is all about form-flowing functions, she says with a smile and a shrug. But you can tell she's pleased as you ask for her expertise. Would you be willing to join my robot company, you blurt out? I thought you never ask, Ellie says pleasantly. Peaceful applications only, right? Of course. Ellie nods. Good. The next day you get a call from your mother. Oddly, she chooses not to use video at all. Skyler, I have some bad news for you, she says, and there's a heaviness in her voice that you've never heard before that fills you with dread. You are completely unprepared for what comes next. Your father passed away last night, and I'm going to end it here. I hope you all enjoyed my reading and my unfortunate singing. Sorry about that again. Hopefully I'll pick this up again, and hopefully you're still here with me. Alright. Bye!